Welcome back to In the House with Beth and Ryan. I'm Beth and this is Ryan.
Today we're going to look at the 2024 year in review for Guelph. And so often we look forward into the next year without actually taking a look back at what happened. And looking back at what happened could be useful in identifying trends or opportunities for the following year. So it was an eventful year.
I was going to say the opposite.
Okay, it was uneventful. It was uneventful.
I was going to say overall, if you look at the market overall, things were relatively flat. But
they were relatively
if we
flat.
Splice it a little bit more, there were some eventful categories.
Yeah. Why don't we start at the top? So starting at the beginning of the year, there was a lot of anticipation of the Bank of Canada reducing the lending rate right away. And there was some speculation, probably mostly from realtors or mortgage brokers, that the market was going to spike up as a result of this. So rates come down and everybody was going to jump back into the market. And we didn't think that. And it didn't materialize anyways. The first rate reduction was in June. And in totality, how much did it decrease over the full year?
1.75 in total.
Yep. And
we did notice, I'm just thinking back to that time, I remember we did notice there was a bit of a spike in buyer activity in terms of people came back looking, right? We had a little bit of increase in that sense, but it didn't necessarily result in more transactions in the end. But people were interested again and engaging, but it didn't really translate into more sales.
Yeah, that's right.
At that moment.
The sales for the full year were up. In total for last year, as I mentioned, the number of sales were up. Number of listings were way up. But we did not see a rise in prices.
Right.
They were slightly down actually. They were down almost 1% on the median sale price.
Right. We're seeing a lot more houses in the condo and townhouse category in Guelph. Those are really becoming a large part of our market. Do you know the percentage?
I think in total it's just under half.
Yeah.
So I think it's about 40%-ish, 45% are made up between condos and semi/townhomes.
And that would explain how the reason why the cost per square foot would go down, because those obviously would be slightly less expensive, depending, could be even more than slightly less expensive per square foot, as opposed to a detached home.
Right, and just on a side note, I am editing a video that talks a little bit more about what we're seeing being built for 2025, which is a lot of stacked townhomes. Yeah. A lot of it.
And a lot of that is keeping in line with the larger goal to create more housing and to create more densification, specifically within the city of Guelph.
Yep. So looking forward, we'll talk about that. But going back to 2024, it was an overall, over 50% of the homes sold were detached, and the other half was made up of condos and townhomes. Now, if we take a look at specific neighborhood performance in Guelph in 2024, there was a clear winner.
Yep. Kortright East was the neighborhood in Guelph that saw the biggest growth in terms of median sale price. And it's up to almost $1.1 million was the median number, 1.085, which was a 21.7% increase over the prior year.
Yeah, and Kortright East is the east side of Gordon Street and south of Stone Road. So those are homes that are built maybe mid-90s. To mid 2000s.
Yeah, and they're higher quality builds on like good size lots.
Bigger homes.
It's definitely not a cookie cutter style neighborhood. The houses have a little more personality, and there were a variety of builders who built those homes at the time.
Yep. And what was the second most expensive neighborhood?
Most expensive was Kortright Hills, which historically I think ranked number one actually. Yeah. So it's taken a dip. And it actually, the median sale price in Kortright Hills actually did decline significantly, but it is still number two.
Yeah. And then number three, which I feel like we did this video in the middle of last year. These were the top three neighborhoods then. Number three was the Village by the Arboretum, which is a 55 plus community, always popular. and it had a raging start in 2024, but since then quieted down.
And I would say that like the start of 2024, that was actually a continuation of what's been happening in that neighborhood over the last few years. We saw it really boom during the pandemic, where a lot of people from the GTA, 55 plus, were coming into that neighborhood, specifically in Guelph.
Yep. And the median price there went up 1.2%. And in Guelph last year, this is pretty common. The increases ranged, for the most part, between -5% to +5%. Most of the neighborhoods fell in that range. There were a few that declined double digits. Exhibition Park being one of them at -12.9, and General Hospital, I think, was around the same range.
One thing to note when you're considering those stats is that they're largely impacted by the types of homes that are being sold also
in that year compared to the prior year.
Yeah, and I would say that neighborhoods like Kortright East and Kortright Hills and the Village by the Arboretum, the homes in those neighborhoods tend to kind of all be at a fairly similar price point. As opposed to Exhibition Park and General Hospital, you do see a wide range of home styles and home prices. You'll have your really large century homes selling well over $1 million, but you'll also have some wartime bungalows selling in and around $700,000.
Yeah. If you do have any questions on the Guelph real estate market or want to talk to us about buying a house or selling a house in the Guelph market, you can always find us at our website at Bethandryan.ca.